What's happening in Sandeshkhali? And is it likely to torpedo Mamata Banerjee's ambitions in the upcoming election? To answer that, we have to first go through what happened in Sandeshkhali at all. Now, it started on the 5th of January when the Enforcement Directorate, or the ED, went to Sandeshkhali to raid one TMC leader's house. This man, Shahjahan Sheikh. Now, when they got there, he was absconding. But it turned out that he was a very powerful man locally because his men actually assaulted, beat up the ED officers, and chased them away. They were forced to escape from that village. Now, since then, Sheikh has been missing, and a couple of his strongmen have been arrested. And that has sort of left a gap in his clutch over that neighborhood, and the stories have started coming out. The stories that have come out have been shocking. Following that ED incident, many local women have publicly accused him and his men of not just land grabbing, of torture and sexual assault of the women in the village. They said this, and I'm quoting, they said TMC men would survey home to home and they would take a look at the women in the home and decide if there was a young woman or a young girl who they found particularly attractive. They would take that woman with them to their TMC office and keep that woman night after night until they are, and I'm quoting, satisfied. This is what one woman has said and been quoted saying to a national channel. Now, the women are now sort of empowered by Sheikh's absence. They've revealed a prolonged list of abuses that have lasted for a very long time. They have indicated that his close associates and other TMC leaders, quoting Uttam Sardar and Shiva Prasad Hazara, have also been involved in this sort of thing. Now, let's take a look at who Shahjahan Sheikh is. Now, he's a 42-year-old who's popularly known as Bhai. And he started as a small time worker in the fisheries before rising into becoming some sort of local, uncrowned king of the fisheries belt. And the stories are really reminiscent of the 1980s sort of Thakur who ran the space, and everything that moved needed his permission, and he would just have his way with all of the people in the village. In 2004, he entered electoral politics, at that point with the left, with the CPIM, and then shifted to the TMC. His political trajectory has peaked when he secured a Zilla Parishad seat last year. Now, he's sort of painted himself as some sort of Robin Hood, but what he is really is a local thug who's also who also has political power. After all of these allegations came out, the women of the village get out of the local police station with bamboo sticks protesting on the 8th of February, demanding justice and demanding the immediate arrest of Sheikh and of Shiva Prasad Hazara. Now, tensions peaked the next day when protesting women set fire to 3 poultry farms owned by Hazara, asserting that they were constructed on land that was forcibly taken from poor villagers. Now, this since then has exploded politically as well. But before I take you through what's happening politically, I want you to remember that this story should be and is about the plight of these women, and the fact that this sort of feudal setup is still being allowed now in modern day under the blessings of various political parties, and in this case, the TMC. Now, after it became political, after the BJP picked up on it, opposition parties, including the left and the BJP, have intensified their calls for Sheikh and his associates to be arrested. A 6-member BJP delegation, including 2 union ministers and 4 MPs, visited Sandeshkhali on Friday. The police actually did not allow them to enter. There were prohibitory orders of Section 144 that were brought in. Smriti Irani, the union minister, has actually made a statement saying, and she's referring to is Mamata Banerjee. She said she will now allow her men to pick out Hindu young married women and rape them night after night in the TMC office. It cannot be articulated in mere words. End quote. So now there's also, there was more heat on that. On Monday, another contingent of BJP workers were disallowed from visiting the location. The confrontation has spiraled since then into a new angle because the person who stopped them was a Sikh IPS officer, and the leader of the opposition, Suvendu Adhikari of the BJP, called him a Khalistani. Now, this became a separate problem because the BJP, remember, already has problematic issues with the Sikh community after the previous farmer protests calling them Khalistani, and there have been several statements that have been issued saying this was really not cool. The TMC, in response, accuses BJP leaders of trying to polarize the state. Mamata Banerjee has emphasized the arrest of 17 individuals in relation to both the protests and the allegations of harassment, and she has pledged to ensure that the perpetrator who awaits justice will be brought to justice. But in the meantime, the National Commission for Women of Scheduled Castes has recommended President's rule in West Bengal. The recommendation has been seconded by NCW chairperson Rekha Sharma on Monday, who said she's received 18 complaints from women, including 2 of rape, and has visited the area. And she said Mamata Banerjee has failed to stop the atrocities against women. The other thing that has happened is Republic TV Bangla journalist Shantupan was arrested in the state of West Bengal while reporting live from Sandeshkhali based on a complaint from a local resident saying that he barged into their home, thereby he has been booked under trespassing and outraging the modesty of a woman. Now, this has come under a lot of flack from the Editors Guild and from other journalists, saying Mamata Banerjee is actually at this point targeting journalists who are covering the problem and basically trying to use the police to silence people. The Editors Guild of India has said, and I quote, that while the police should continue to investigate any allegations, taking a journalist away while reporting disrupts not only his work but also the public's right to information. In the meantime, the case was brought to Supreme Court. The Supreme Court denied the petition asking for a CBI investigation because the High Court is already looking at this matter. The state governor, in his report to the Ministry of Home Affairs, has accused law enforcement of working hand in glove with, I'm quoting, rowdy elements. A 6-member team of the West Bengal Commission for Protection of Child Rights visited the region on Saturday. The villagers have alleged that a 7-month-old child was snatched from her mother's lap and thrown away by miscreants as well. So all of this is really steamrolling for Mamata Banerjee. Now, she needs to bring the situation under control if she wants it not to hurt her chances in the election, and also because she constantly claims to be pro-women. She constantly claims, that she runs a government that is pro-women. And for information to now have come out that her party people are running fiefdoms in which they treat women like commodities is terrible, whether or not there is an election coming up. Now, remember also, Mamata Banerjee had a fundamental slogan in the previous election where she kept saying, Ma, Mati, Manush, if I've said that correctly, which means mother, land, and people. And in this particular case, it's hurting all of those points, right? Because women or moms are being hurt. Land grabbing is a massive accusation against these people. And it's the poorest who have been hurt the most. And for me personally, actually watching a lot of those stories and a lot of the testimonies that are coming out from Sandeshkhali, the fear with which women were not even willing to mention what was happening, and there was obviously a nervousness that they would be targeted, they would be beaten, their husbands would be targeted, their homes would be destroyed. This sort of thing is really, really disturbing. It's almost, like I said, it's almost 80s Bollywood in its nature. So on one hand, there is this election coming up, and this definitely seems like it's going to hurt Mamata Banerjee because she keeps talking about parivartan or development and how pro-people she is and how pro-women she is. If she's not able to deliver justice and quickly bring this situation under control, because it does seem like this was allowed to carry on for a very long time, and that does not reflect well, on the police in TMC in Bengal, or the TMC and the government of West Bengal either. So Mamata Banerjee has a situation on her hands.